Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jacqueline Mora, and this is my presentation called The Implementation of Prototypical Content Word List to analyze the vocabulary input contained in English language teaching textbooks. Here you can find some information regarding my personal bio. I'm a PhD in English Philology from the University of La Rioja. I have several experience in teaching English and language didactics to undergraduate students, including supervising bachelor's degree final projects. I am currently a member of the Applied Linguistics Group, GLAUR, and the research project on available lexicon with L2 and L3 learners, Herlux Herpro. I'm an author of articles focusing on semantic prototypes in EFL learners, lexical availability output, and ELT textbooks vocabulary input. I'm a regular contributor to paper and poster conference presentations in Spain and abroad, and my research of interests are linguistics, semantic prototypes, lexical availability, productive vocabulary learning, second language acquisition and foreign language acquisition, language development, language didactics, ELT and EFL textbooks, and semantic networks and word associations. Here you can find the table of contents. First, we are going to have a short introduction regarding semantic prototypes. Then I'm going to let you know what we focus on, our objectives, our research questions, the methodology employed in our research, the results, the conclusions, implications, and further research, and finally the references. As everybody knows, a semantic prototype is the best and most central exemplar in a category. So on the right side of the screen, you can see the schema of the prototype theory designed by Ruba, in which the elements of the prototype are found in the middle of the schema. It means that it collects all the characteristics and features of a category. In our case, we wanted to focus on semantic prototypes in ELT textbooks, since, to our knowledge, it has not been frequently researched, and it was our gap of investigation. So, given that textbooks are considered a crucial pedagogical component in foreign language teaching and learning contexts, analysis of the representation of prototypical patterns in the vocabulary input contained in English language teaching textbooks have been scarce, so no prototypical word lists have yet been produced. So, in our case, this is the main point of our research. This present study investigates the vocabulary input contained in two ELT textbooks differing in course level, 6 years of primary education and 12 years of secondary education. Our objectives were to ascertain whether there is evidence of prototypicality in the vocabulary input contained in two ELT textbooks within the 50 most frequent content words, and if so, to determine whether there are similarities or differences between both textbooks in terms of semantic prototypes. Secondly, we wanted to find out whether the elaboration of content word lists might cast light on the types of prototypical words found in the selected ELT textbooks. Our research questions were: are there similarities and differences in the vocabulary input contained in the two ELT textbooks selected within the 50 most frequent content words through word prototypicality? And secondly, does the elaboration of content word lists cast light on the types of prototypical words found in the selected two ELT textbooks? For our methodology, Here in this table, table 1, shows the description of the selected ELT textbooks, so you can find items regarding the name of the textbooks, the authors, the publishing house, the year of publication, the number of units, and the Common European Framework Reference level. So the level of performance in this case for the 6th grade is A1, A2, whereas for the 12th grade is B2. What was the criteria we follow in order to select these two ELT textbooks? There are several reasons. The first one is that for the identification of prototypical words in the input received by the two groups of EFL informants differing in age and grade level, whose output of lexical availability on prototypes was also analyzed in a previous study. So we wanted to find out if that lexical production in a previous study was mirrored in the prototypical words found in the vocabulary input of the course books. Also, we selected these materials since they have been currently used as samples in several investigations within the framework of research projects conducted in the autonomous community of La Rioja in the north of Spain. Also, because not only has the Spanish Ministry of Education approved these ELT textbooks, but also because our Regional Education and Council in La Rioja, Spain, has also approved them. For the editing, lemmatization, and encoding of our two samples, we made use of the computational program of Wordsmith Tools, the version 7.0. We also took into consideration the units of analysis, which were the word and the lexical unit of meaning. We follow the criteria of the procedural steps stipulated by the Applied Linguistic Group from the University of La Rioja. Function words were discarded by following the list of function words stated by Nation, O'Shea, and Osterk. And the prototypical word lists were elaborated by following the semantic approaches to classifying content words proposed by Dixon and Viber, in which they include concrete, abstract, and speech act nouns, motion, stative, perception, and speaking verbs, and value and similarity adjectives. In this case, adverbs were not considered since in our lists we didn't find any. Also, it is for the sake of clarity, we want to mention that these prototypical words lists were the first attempt, since to our knowledge, none of them have been done previously. Well, regarding our results, Table 2 reveals the distribution of corpus and content words per textbook. So as you can see in the table, we can find the figures concerning the general content and function words per textbook, and also the lemmatized tokens and types. As we can see, the figures show that Key to Bachillerato 2, the 12th grade textbook, has a higher amount of words than the New Tiger 6 textbooks, the children's textbook, since because of the grade level and age, it tends to differ. Our results also showed that regarding the elaboration of prototypical word lists, we could find that following the semantic approaches proposed by Dixon and Biber in terms of concrete, abstract, speech act nouns, motion, stative, speaking, perceptive verbs, and adjectives of value and adjectives of similarity, in New Tiger 6, according to the figure, we find that most of the content words or prototypical content words within the 50 most frequent words were concrete nouns with 24% and motion verbs with 24%. However, the prototype was not included within these two types. It was included in the verb of perception, since when using the computational program of Wordsmith, we could find that the most prototypical word, it means that the most frequent word in the text, was the verb of perception, listen, with a frequency of 133. And in this case, according to Davis and Landau, perception is more accessible for young children than mental states, and that is one of the reasons why the textbook considers listen as the verb of perception, as the prototype, in this case, this verb of perception. If we compare over here in Key to Bachillerato 2, the 12th grade textbook, we can see a slight difference regarding verbs. Actually, in motion verbs and in Key to Bachillerato 2 and New Tiger 6, they're quite similar. In this case, they obtained 26%. But there is a huge difference between concrete nouns and abstract nouns. In the previous slide, we could see that in the children's textbook, the higher percentage was in concrete nouns, whereas in the adolescents textbook, it was the abstract nouns. And in this case, we also can see that regarding adjectives, there was only one subtype, and it was the adjectives of value. Within the 50 most frequent content words in Key to Bachillerato 2, as I said, the higher percentage was provided in the abstract nouns with a 30%, and also in the motion verbs with 26%. Nevertheless, the prototype was not included within these two subtypes of content words. It was included in the concrete nouns, and it was notebook with a frequency of 355 times throughout the text. And we consider that this is the prototypical word given in the textbook, since according to the age and grade level, this is the most used object at the school. In our conclusions, we could have evidence of prototypes. As I mentioned, in New Tiger 6, we could find a verb of perception, and it was listen, whereas in Key to Bachillerato 2, we found a concrete noun, notebook. The most prototypical content words in the children's textbook were related to motion verbs and concrete nouns, whereas in the adolescents' textbook, it was abstract nouns followed by motion verbs. These findings should be valuable for researchers, EFL teachers, and textbook designers, given that the insights with regard to the prototypical words in English language teaching textbooks open new and first lines of investigation and vocabulary learning through the elaboration of prototypical word lists based on content word semantic approaches. We also consider that more analysis or further analysis of additional coursebook materials should be done, since in this case we only focus on two, given that these were the two most used in the autonomous community of La Rioja in the several investigations conducted by the Applied Linguistics group of research in La Rioja, in the University of La Rioja, and also because those were the two textbooks analyzed for previous analysis concerning lexical availability output. We also consider that designing a general prototypical content word list would be useful, since it would be will give easiness to the analysis of prototypes in any ELT textbooks by means of the semantic approaches proposed by Dixon and Byberg. So, since this is our first attempt, we are very happy to contribute with this type of analysis, since there has not been done so far, and it could not only help us to find prototypical words, but also how ELT textbooks are designing their cost books or their materials regarding the content words. And here you can find some of the references we have used for our work. And thank you very much for the attention given to my presentation.